Hey there, and welcome to GamePoints, our weekly little get-together. We talk about the last week's in gaming news. I am your host, Stephen Brown. Joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, on episode 100, we have done 100 of these goddamn
Fuck!
things.
I forgot I was supposed to be way drunker by now. Damn
well,
it.
you're not, and we're not doing anything special, but tonight we do have a bunch of stuff we need to go over. We're going to talk about Dota's new Artifact card game, called Artifact. We're going to talk about a couple lawsuits that have been going around, specifically with Riot Games. Actually, just the one. I cut the Nintendo one. We're going to get into new releases as we always do. But first, David, before we get into all of that, I want to talk about this weird jump in No Man's Sky sales.
Yeah, we talked about it. What's funny is we were going to do a whole feature on looking back at No Man's Sky, and like a year later, because we actually hit the year mark recently, you can go play it and kind of see what's changed, since we know that they've been continually patching the game and doing like all this quality of life stuff, and they added base building and all this shit. But the 1.3 patch hit last week, and apparently it fixed enough of the game that not only are people starting to play it again, people are actually buying it, which for me is the weird part.
Yeah, the game topped Steam sales charts today, outpacing at sometimes even PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds and any of the new stuff as well. But what was the other thing it was outpacing that was big?
Hellblade.
Yeah, that was way up there too.
In addition, on Amazon, its sales increased over 6,000%. It went from like way the fuck down in the Amazon charts to like number 147, which, if you consider all of the video games on Amazon, that's pretty big.
Now, do we have hard sales numbers from this spike yet? Because 6,000% of like 10 copies is not much.
True, but hitting number one selling on Steam, I think, is going to be a bigger number.
I agree. I'd be very interested to see how well it's doing on PlayStation 4 as well, considering that was primarily a PlayStation 4 game, or at least marketed by them. Sony was pushing really hard for it.
Yeah, but the big thing is they added, well, finally, very basic and rudimentary multiplayer. You can actually find other players. You can voice chat with up to 16 people. They just show up as glowing blue orbs. They added portals, so there's kind of a version of fast travel, from what I understand, where you can jump around. All kinds of hot fixes. Flight has been completely redone, so you no longer have to be stuck like floating a certain distance above the ground. You can actually fly and barrel roll and apparently play the fucking game like a lot of people wanted to. They redid a lot of the...
Let's not dance around the subject here. They are now putting in shit a year later that they promised at the gate.
This is closer to the game that we thought it was going to be at launch. What's funny is it's still not there, but it's closer, and for a lot of people it seemed to make them happy. It still has pretty crappy reviews, but the other big thing that we need to talk about for the fact that everyone's buying it is that it's no longer a $60 game. It's a $20 game. I think it's $23 on Steam, and you can get it for like $15 on Amazon for console.
Yeah, it is on massive sale right now. I don't know if that's going to be the permanent price or if that's just a temporary sale. My gut tells me it's just temporary. I don't think it's going to stay at that. It might go back up to $29.99 after this. I will say good on Hello Games for committing to this game, for working on it for a year. This is a free patch. There is no extra cost to put into it. But that said, I'm not going to give too much praise for you finally doing what was promised out the gate.
Yeah.
Essentially, you sold people an early access game without calling it early access.
No, the funny thing is that there's all this extra content and blah, 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 shit to do in No Man's Sky, 30 more hours of story. But you know what the problem is? I don't give a fuck anymore. It's been so long, and since we're just now getting into like the start of fall and the game season and all this new stuff that's coming out, I don't have time for No Man's Sky. If this update had hit at the beginning of summer, then yeah, maybe I'd go back and take a look. But why do I need to play this?
Yeah, no, agreed.
I understand that they're working on it, right? And it's going to come out when it comes out. I think they hit like 18,000 players on Steam yesterday, which is bigger than the 411 they were at however many months ago. I do remember that being a pretty funny number. So,
well, also, there's so much competition just right on the horizon in an already stellar year. 2017 so far has been one of the best games we've had for video games, just individual games, in a long-ass time.
Yeah.
I don't have like an immediate list in front of me.
Other games that have been around for a while have content patches that are way better than No Man's Sky. I'm looking at you, Path of Exile, a game I've been playing this out of recently.
So yeah, Sean Murray, Hello Games, congratulations. Well, I don't want to say congratulations.
With an asterisk.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you guys are still working on the game that you promised.
Thanks for
everyone
not
a year ago.
abandoning it.
Yeah. I'm not going to like throw a bunch
Line
of
up
hate
to
at
buy
those
their next game?
guys. Yeah, well, that too. I'm also not going to necessarily throw out a bunch of hate on those guys, but let's not give them undue praise. This is something that should have been in place based on what they were promising to begin with.
Yep.
But hey, they could have just took the money and run, and they didn't. So that's good. All right. First story of the day as we move on to the news last of a blah 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 blah.
Actual news, I guess.
Yeah, actual news. At the Invitational, this is Dota, the Invitational 7, I think. Dota's big tournament that Valve holds every year. They announced a new game was coming. This is the first new game from Valve since 2013.
Dang, 4 years.
And it's going to be a digital card game.
Aww.
This article comes via PC Gamer. Artifact, the first game announced from Valve since 2013, is a digital Dota card game coming in 2018. And it is exactly as it sounds. In fact, people were disappointed, to say the least. If you just type in, like, Artifact crowd disappointment, you get all these videos of everyone. Or reaction. You'll see the logo for Artifact, and it's these 3 triangles lined up, and everyone starts screaming, and all of a sudden the bottom is like a Dota card game. And you could just hear the crowd immediately go, "Aww." It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so, they don't like start cheering or getting super excited. It's literally the awe noise.
Yeah. David, you probably play MMOs more than I do. Have you ever put any time into Dota?
MMOs?
Or
MOBAs?
MOBAs, not MMOs. Yeah, I'm an idiot.
I played Dota for like 4 minutes one time.
What? I know nothing about it. So
it's another MOBA.
Okay.
MOBAs all have a similar, how do I want to say this? Similar consistency, but slightly different flavor. It's like going to a different restaurant and ordering the fried chicken.
Fair enough. All right. I just know you're
still gonna get chicken, but like how bready it is, how meaty it is, it's a little different. Dota has some weird stuff going, and I have trouble following like the pro play, but I play enough MOBAs to get by and kind of know what's going on. But obviously knowing the meta and knowing what all the champs do is a totally different thing. So,
right. I just was mainly just curious if you had any insight into what this could entail as beyond just basic card game mechanics. But it sounds like you've played, well, only 4 minutes of it, so neither one of us are Dota fans. But if you're watching,
it's gonna be another card game like many other card games. But the question is how Valve's gonna present it, because they are in an article this is coming from, actually. There's a unique situation here where Steam is probably going to have Artifact on it, and Steam also has a marketplace. And the one thing that all the digital card games are lacking is any kind of like card reselling.
And Steam's already perfectly set up for that with their trading card system that they have.
Which is kind of how physical card games work.
Yeah.
Is that people will trade and barter for the cards they want, and that's something, if they actually bother to implement it, which is, I think, pretty likely. Just Team Fortress and hats. That's all we got to say.
And therein kind of lies my biggest problem with this, because the Steam Marketplace, when it comes to digital trading of goods, is already kind of a hotbed of controversy. Look no further than the Counter-Strike Go skin gambling issues that were going on there. And Steam has this asinine policy of just turning a blind eye to whatever happens on their marketplace. Let's face it, it's the same kind of mentality that G2A has when it comes down to it. They don't care what fucking happens under their name, under their umbrella, as long as they get the cut.
I'm just going to say, give it a year, and all the people that are top ranked in this game, because we know it's going to have a ranked mode of some sort, are going to be people that have dropped a bunch of money on it. There's going to be a best deck, there's going to be a meta, and everyone's going to spend a shit ton of money for cards. And if you don't spend money on the game, you're going to suck. That's how it's going to be.
Yeah, and additionally, how is this not going to turn into some predatory clusterfuck aimed at kids? Because that's how CSGO skin gambling works. Because, see, the thing is, they don't call skin gambling, because gambling actually has to be regulated. Mm-hmm. And they actually have to fall under certain government compliances. So they call it a multitude of other things, but at the end of the day, you're paying money for a chance to pull out your fucking roulette wheel.
Mm-hmm.
That's gambling. Not only is that gambling, that's gambling that kids under the age of 18 can do. Legally. Well, maybe not,
Fuzzy.
depending if the government actually ever decides to look into it. And Valve just lets all this go. They don't care. Ultimately, they have the stance of, well, parents should hold on to their credit cards, and there is some responsibility there. I'm not taking full responsibility off the parents here. But Valve, guys, what happens on your fucking platform represents you as a company. There's a reason why so much of Valve's goodwill has been burned away over the past 5 years with the shitty Greenlight and now Steam Direct asset flips that are going around. And I don't see them changing that hands-off policy with this. So I don't see Artifact becoming any kind of like a legitimate thing as in like a not shady. I see this turning into a horrible gray market full of unscrupulous people left and right. So if you're going to get into Artifact, fucking beware of the horrible shit that can go on. Just look up the CSGO skin gambling things, where you have people sponsoring websites that they own without telling people that they own it, saying, look how easy it is to win shit from here. I mean, man, caveat emptor on this one, guys.
I was going to say asterisk. This is all speculation. We don't know two fucks about this game.
Absolutely.
And it could just be the greatest collectible digital card game of all time and doesn't scam people out of their money. However, Valve likes your money. They are really fucking good at getting it, and it's hard to imagine a situation where this game doesn't make them a fuck ton of it.
And it's not even them making money that I have an issue about, though. It's just how they fucking regulate it and how they dole it out. I do not have faith that Valve will do what is needed to keep like the predatory aspects of their business from taking this over. I don't see it. Based on their past history, I do not see that happening here.
They'll need to get in trouble first. And even then, it needs to be a lot of trouble. If it's a little bit of trouble, they won't care.
It can't just be a couple lawsuits here and there. It needs to be like a federal investigator jumping on Valve with both feet going, what the fuck are you doing?
Yep.
A U.S. one at that, because I think they have some issues going on in Europe right now, and they're just like, whatever.
But aside from all that, let's be excited about the Dota card game. No, I don't give a shit. Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know what it is. People are all about these card games, and I just don't. I get that it's kind of fun. I played Magic back in the day, and it's just the digital ones aren't for me, I don't think.
No, and they're not. I don't care for them either.
I mean, I guess there's a market for them, but I think that whole market is just taken by Blizzard.
Oh, with Hearthstone? Yeah,
it's kind of like how there's an MMO market, but that whole market's kind of taken by Blizzard, or at least it was a few years ago. You know what I mean?
It just doesn't seem like something that I don't know, man. If I'm playing a card game, I want the physical card in my hand.
Right.
I take issue with trading digital cards that I don't even technically own back and forth between other people. There's just something wrong.
Yeah, dude.
About
how
that.
am I going to whip out my binders of my collection and show it to girls? It's not going to be as cool if I'm like, hey, come sit at my computer. Let me show you all my digital cards. I mean, I guess the binder doesn't work much better either.
I never did the binder. I always did the shoe boxes. Anyways, enough of Artifact.
Yeah, let's stop talking about card games. Let's talk about the new thing that Gearbox is working on. Their top secret, in development, competitive first-person shooter that combines the action of fast-paced 1v1 first-person combat with the meta-game strategy of a collectible card game. I am talking about Project 1v1, and more specifically, we are going to talk about Gearbox's horrible, horrible timing.
These poor motherfuckers cannot catch a break.
Oh my god, every time Gearbox says, hey internet, check us out, here's a project that's not directly related to Borderlands, they get shit on about 3 hours earlier by a much bigger company putting together something that's going to sell way fucking better.
So, this is what's so funny about this is that Project 1v1, whatever it's going to be finally called in the end, was literally announced hours within the Valve's Artifact announcement. So it's not like they knew that was coming. There was no hints that this was going to happen. It's just Gearbox. I think this is just karma for what was Aliens Colonial Marines, because
they're still paying for that shit.
The same thing happened to them essentially with Battleborn. They go like, hey, here's Battleborn. It's a colorful hero shooter. By the way, there's also Overwatch.
Well, to be fair, that's not even a hero shooter. It's a MOBA. It's a like third-person MOBA. It's more like Smite than it is like Overwatch. But since they came out at the similar time, and it's another bigger company, people just kind of ran from it.
Hey, TP Poker, I see you in chat. What's up? Thanks for watching. Not only did they just kind of run with it, but the art style to Overwatch and Battleborn were extremely similar. And yeah, TP Poker, you may ask any question you want. I may or may not read it, but go ahead and knock yourself out. Gearbox just has this constant... It's just bad timing over and over and over again.
Yeah,
I can't
really
describe
what
it.
It is.
Like, the universe fucking hates them for some reason. God has it out for Randy Pitchford, and once again, I still think God played Alien Colonial Marines, and he pissed them off.
I was just going to say, it's because people wanted Colonial Marines to be the greatest Alien game of all time, and instead we got just horrendous nonsense to the point where there's, I think, still a guy working on it to fix the game on his own that puts out continual patches, and it's just one guy, not even Gearbox related.
I want to say there is a modding team out there designed to make Colonial Marines look like the original product that was shown off.
And try and get it playable and fix AI issues, but it's like so bad that they have issues trying to put it together. But
didn't they get sued over that?
Part of the big reason why Gearbox's Alien game sucks so bad is because they didn't actually work on it. Remember how they just handed it off to another company and they just put their name on it because they published it?
Yeah.
But they didn't actually work in the development at all. So is 1v1 going to be an actual Gearbox game? Only time will tell.
I think so. I think that this is going to be developed by Gearbox. They, of course, have other things in development. I would say Borderlands 3 is all but assured. It's just a matter of when that is going to get announced. But, yeah. So, let's see what we have here. One question. Then let me see what this question here is from TPP Poker here.
No, that's a good one.
All right. So let me read this out loud. It has nothing to do with games, but shit, we'll interact with them anyways. 1, stream is stellar, great content, excellent host, superb interactions. Clearly hasn't read the stream, so there's a good chance this is probably spam. But fuck it, we're gonna have fun with it. My question is 2 parts. I was wondering realistically, how much longer can Betty White possibly have left? You know, TPP Poker. I am going to say Betty White has 3 years and 9 months left. Now, I hold the caveat of being able to say a month, give or take. So if it's 3 months, 8, or 3 years, 8 months, or 3 years, 10 months.
I mean, you're really specific. Right. I was gonna say 6 to 9 years, because it's Betty White, and I feel like saying 6 to 9 is the correct way to say that.
You're a child.
I'm just a reasonable man.
All right. TP
she's
Poker.
only 90. She's only 95. I could see her hitting 104.
She's 97, apparently.
97.
Damn, I thought she was in her 80s.
I could still see her hitting 104. I'm still in my window.
All right. While you figure out the second part of your question there, TP Poker, we're going to move on to the next story, and that's the fact that Riot Games is lost its lawsuit against Edgar Davids sued Riot Games, and they've lost that lawsuit. This is via PC Gamer right here. Riot loses lawsuit over League of Legends striker Lucian skin. Former soccer pro Edgar Davids said the skin was based on him, and a Dutch court agreed. According to a report on Dutch site Het Parool, Riot argued that similarities between the skin and the real person weren't as great as Davids claimed, and that LoL players wouldn't confuse the two. The court saw the situation somewhat differently, however, and no doubt least partly thanks to this tweet from 2014 by former Riot QA analyst Baconhawk. That's a good name. But let's take a look here. Let's see if we have a side-by-side. We don't. But this guy right here is the Lucian skin, the one in the blue there. But the tweet from the developer that got Riot ruled against was essentially this quote. And it's been since deleted, so unfortunately I can't bring it up. But the quote was, "For all of you wondering, striker Lucian was inspired by soccer pro Edgar Davids."
That's pretty damning.
Yeah.
Hey, that guy doesn't look anything like that other guy. Don't worry about the fact that one of our own employees full-on admitted it when the skin was announced that, yes, we designed it based on this soccer pro when we had all of our soccer skins come out. Now, these skins actually came out quite a while ago because I'm pretty sure I was still playing the game at that point, and I haven't played League of Legends in probably 2 years. So it's been going for a while, and obviously they're still battling it until someone just pulled that ace out of the hole and said, hey, guess what? You tweeted this shit. You're done. We win.
Yeah, that account, from my understanding, is completely locked down. Like I said, that tweet's also been deleted because of the shit that happened there. I have to wonder if Bacon Hawk is still employed by Riot Games.
I'd imagine so. Bacon Hawk is actually kind of up there.
Oh, is he?
Or I guess, I think it's
or maybe
former,
was. Anyway. I don't know for certain. Either way, the judge in the case has ordered Riot Games to reveal to auditors how much money the Striker Lucian skin has earned, and will determine David's compensation based on that. A Riot rep has since declined to comment on the capes. Whoops. This is what happens when you use someone's image and then try to go, no, we're not using his image, but one of your employees goes, hey, we totally used his image. That's just hilarious to me. Like, that. Riot Games was straight out lying right there. Like, oh, no connection at all to the soccer player. Oh, yeah, we totally did it. David, before you take over the next topic, I believe we have the second part of TP Poker's question coming in. And here we go.
Oh,
Thank
this is
you.
a good one.
The second part of my question pertains to the current state of affairs of the main engineering department at Blizzard. The lead engineer is ready to leave and take his team over to a rival house based on the breach of contract with reference to proper division of royalties from Overwatch. Man, that is above my pay grade. I have not heard about that at all. I will say this. If an employee has fucked you over and your contract says they can't fuck you over, walk and sue. And create your own thing if you want to. That's fine. I mean, I wish I knew more about this story. I haven't heard about it yet. TP Poker, if you have any information relating to this, if you can post a link down at the bottom, and I will try to address it while I can. But while on the topic of Blizzard,
I can actually jump in there really quick, just a little bit of an aside, because if you actually check the Blizzard website, they do have a job application posted online for a lead software engineer, based in their Irvine headquarters.
Interesting. I want to read more about this.
So I don't know if that's the exact same job, but it's potentially possible they're aware of it and they're already looking for new talent. Never can tell. But yeah, we've talked about stuff like this before, where if you're working for a company and they screw you over, or it doesn't seem like things are working right, then absolutely you should feel free to get out of there. And as I always do, I will bring it back to Kojima.
The only confusing part of all this that I have right now, TP Poker, is you said this was a two-part question, but your part sit with Betty White and Blizzard. Isn't this more just two separate questions? I mean, you can ask more than one. That's fine. But while on the topic of Blizzard, David, why don't you go ahead and lead us on to our next story?
Oh, okay, well, let's talk about the Overwatch League and how I still feel that it's way overpriced to get into. But I might be alone. So via Sports Business Daily, another place we do not usually get articles from, Stan and Josh Kroenke, owners of the LA Rams, Denver Nuggets, Colorado Avalanche, and Arsenal FC, have acquired the startup Overwatch League's second Los Angeles franchise, and the esports team Cloud9 has agreed to buy the league's first London franchise. So a while back, we were talking about the new Overwatch League, and while we don't have the hard number at this time, when we first reported it, it was questioned to be like a $20 million buy-in to get into the Overwatch League. So it's potentially possible these guys are throwing $20 million to get in the Overwatch League. We don't know for sure, but we do know that they're in it. And the interesting thing, I think, is less the fact that more people are jumping into pro Overwatch and more the fact that people that own bona fide sports franchises are actually getting into an esport. And this has been going on for the last couple of years, and I think this is going to lead to what I hope is better regulations for the players. We used to talk about some of the quality of life for pro players of League of Legends, for Counter-Strike, for other teams, and it's not good. If you remember, the contract negotiations from a couple years ago with some of the League of Legends pros and how they kind of got screwed out of everything. Hopefully the fact that you have people from legitimate, or I don't want to say that kind of fucks with people, but like current pro sports teams, managers getting into the esport. I'm hoping that contract negotiations will start going a little bit better. But these new deals bring the league's total confirmed charter membership to 9. The transactions have expanded to the Europe continent for the first time. It's
The
I
Europe
think
continent.
only. Yeah, dude, I'm trying to read and talk. I don't know how to do any of that. Yeah. Now there's 2 South California teams, and we still don't know how much they paid. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah. The terms of the deal are not known, but Activision Blizzard has been hoping to get $20 million each. So it's a high buy-in. And back to what you're saying about how there's actual people who are involved in, I'm loath to use the term legitimate sports franchises, but bigger name ones, I should say. Like the Patriots owner, Robert Kraft, owns a team. Bet COO, and Sterling VC founder Jeff Whipplon owns one. Grizzlies co-owner Stephen Kaplan owns another one. Minority sharer in the NBA Kings, Andy Miller, owns another one. So there are actual big names involved in picking up these franchises, and I think it's good. I think it helps bring that knowledge and experience into esports, which is something that really needs if it wants to grow into something to be taken seriously, to be quite honest with you. We'll see how it shakes out. And while on the topic of esports and getting some legitimacy, let's go ahead and talk about the fact that they might actually be in the Olympics next in 2024. This is from the AP News. Paris.
And it's ridiculous.
Paris open to. That's weird. I'm sorry, I have an ad behind me. It's kind of throwing me off. Paris open to esports 2024. Oh my god. Okay,
just let it happen.
No, I had to close that. The ad started running, and then the audio over the ad started to play over me.
This show brought to you by Walgreens.
I apologize for blowing out your ears. Essentially, what that article that you saw there said was that Tony Estegunit, it's good, Tony E., co-president of Paris Olympic Bid Committee, told the Associated Press that he will hold talks with esports representatives in the IOC about the possibility of gaming joining the 2024 program. The explosion in popularity of esports events, drawing large crowds of youngsters to arenas for tournaments, has already seen the gaming embraced by the Asian Games. The Asian Games aren't just some... I'm not just talking about Asian Games that they play over there. There is an actual event called the Asian Games, which is kind of like the Olympics, but just specifically tied to Asia. So China, Japan, Taiwan, etc. Going on from the article. It will become a full sport by the 2022 edition, although details of which games will be contested are yet to be provided. Tony E. believes that a contest of digital prowess should be considered a legitimate sport if the Olympics is to maintain its relevance for the new generation of fans. Essentially, what they're getting at here is that the Olympics, no one wants to fucking host them anymore because it's way fucking expensive to do so. In fact, a bunch of people who were competing to get the 2024 Olympics have just bounced out. Cities like Budapest, Hamburg, and Rome all just said, fuck this, we're out. We're not paying for this anymore. So they're trying to do something new to get in the younger generation of viewers. And I see the Olympics legitimately having this by 2024. Look no farther than ESPN, which is already starting to show big tournaments on their channel.
I thought they were talking about it going to LA. I miss.
There are. I think the.
Is that 2020?
I think that is 2020 or 2018 in LA. I am not positive.
That'll be a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. Esports, hitting up in the Olympics. If people needed more things to complain about that aren't real sports, and I don't mean that, but you have all the people that argue it's like that's not physical enough. Why is golf there? Why is this there? My big issue will be if esports are in there. Not that I dislike them. I'm actually a huge fan of esports. But if wrestling isn't there and esports are, we've fallen quite a ways.
Like, are you talking like Greco-Roman wrestling or like WWE
wrestling? No, like Greco-Roman wrestling.
Okay, is that not there anymore?
I thought they pulled wrestling out of the Olympics.
I could give two shits about the Olympics.
That's fair, but it's a big deal to most people.
And it was a big deal, right? But there's a reason why they're doing stuff like this is because they've been dropping viewership year after year after year. The Olympics has had a series of horrible stories coming about them, from how horrible it was in Rio with all the terrible conditions to the what was the Russian one where the hotels weren't even finished, to the corruption at IOC where people were being bought and paid for, to all the politics involved in it. And in my own personal grievance against the Olympics, I don't like anything that supports giving medals to second place. But just all of this is it's not good, and their popularity is dropping. They're not the bastion of pinnacle of human achievement that they were once considered, and we'll see how it all shakes out. Oh, one more thing I want to bring up. The Olympics have rules about being a professional. You can't be paid, I believe, to play a sport and compete in the Olympics. So that would be interesting to see who they would actually get to compete, because there's no way in hell any...
Well, some countries will pay their athletes for going, but I think that kind of depends on where you are.
Yeah, but is some Korean Wunderkind like Faker going to give up all of his sponsorships and all of his tournament winnings from League of Legends to go compete in the Olympics?
I don't know.
By no means am I an expert on any of this stuff. Let's see. TP Poker in chat's mentioning Ryan Lochte again. I mean, that was a clusterfuck where I think he was like stole a sign or something like that and then said someone else stole it. I mean, there was some legal issues with him down there.
He claimed that him and some guys were robbed in Brazil.
That's what
but it was actually wasn't true, I think. That sounds right.
Yeah. And he's also saying that the Russian track team was caught fucking Yugoslavian gymnasts.
I mean, that's not even a big
hot,
deal.
Though. I mean, that sounds kind of hot. I got to think for
Well,
these
if you remember, this is like a whole thing. The Olympics are just a giant fuck fest, which I think is the real reason why esports won't really make it, because if you remember, what the fuck, like Tinder was huge at the Olympics.
I remember there being stories.
All the dudes and ladies had it because you have a bunch of people who are younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like going from 18 to probably 30 or less, right? Right in that window, who are at like peak human physical condition, who are all filled with like hormones and really, really in shape. So yeah, they're all gonna bang each other. And if you throw a bunch of nerdy kids in there, I feel like they're just gonna not be super into it.
Well, I remember reading
because they're just not gonna be popular.
I remember reading stories about like the prostitution business in Rio just booming during the few weeks the Olympics was there, because not only do you have all of these people visiting, like athletes visiting from foreign countries, but you have a shit ton of businessmen and women and people who can fly down to watch the Olympics with a shit ton of disposable income. So yeah, I mean, sex is a big industry during the Olympics. Anyways, all of this stuff is tangential to what we're going on here, and I think that wraps
the
it.
Real question in the article: when is sex going to be in the Olympics? I think that's where we're going, right?
Well, that's when they bring out. That's they didn't get rid of Greco-Roman wrestling. They're just retooling it for a couple of years, and then they're going to introduce it again.
Damn. All right.
David, why don't you go ahead and take us to the next story here?
All right. Have you heard of Fig?
I have. I like Fig.
All right. Well, you've heard of Fig. I'm not talking about Fig's the thing you eat. Fig is a equity crowdfunding platform. So think Kickstarter, but then think Kickstarter that pays you. In the sense that you back a project, and if the project is funded and starts making money, you actually make money off the project.
Yeah,
so
depending on like what level you invest in, yeah.
Correct. But this is a crowdfunding platform where you are actually an investor. Unlike Kickstarter, where you just give somebody money to maybe get something back, here you're investing, which means you can get a return on investment, or you can still lose out, but if you win, it could be really good. And in a story via Polygon, the equity crowdfunding platform Fig announced that for the first time ever, one of its projects has actually turned a profit for its investors. Fig mixes traditional rewards-based crowdfunding with an equity investment and is not limited to accredited investors, so anybody can invest. And so far, that's included high-profile titles like Psychonauts 2, Wasteland 3, Phoenix Point. But the first game to actually turn a profit is a little game called Kingdoms and Castles, which I've actually been looking at because this game, I think, looks really, really cool. It's a kingdom-based city sim. So you actually start building up like a little town and you get invaded by things. So think SimCity, but then get medieval on it. Kingdoms and Castles generated over $1 million in sales just 2 weeks after launch and will continue to pay out for the next 3 years. Investors received twice their money back.
And
which is
I
cool.
believe
that's
we'll
100%.
keep getting dividends on this for the next 3 years, if I'm reading this article correctly.
Yeah, from what I understand, yeah.
So,
which is pretty rad.
Yeah.
But huge caveat. It is still a crowdfunding system, so don't hear this article and think shit, I need to get some of that Fig money, and then go back a bunch of projects, because you can still have things fail. We are talking about the first project, the first one that has actually made a profit for investors. Fig has been around since 2015. So
in the 2 years it's been out there, they have only paid back once.
Yes. So, just like Kickstarter, watch out where you're putting your money.
Yeah. I've always liked the idea of Fig better than Kickstarter, because unlike Kickstarter, which is here's $500 on an interest-free loan, you actually can get some kind of money for your investment, because let's face it, this is an investment. You are giving money to a company to make a product, and they are going to labor off of your funds. Or create something off of your funds and reap the rewards of that. If I'm giving you money to get a project on the ground, you goddamn right I want a piece of the pie if it turns out to be profitable. Like all those poor son of bitches who, I want to say, kickstarted the Oculus Rift. And then fucking Facebook bought that up. How many of those people got paid out for that? No one.
Nobody got Facebook money.
But could you imagine if that was on Fig? How many millionaires overnight would have been made?
Yeah, actually kind of insane to think about.
So I like Fig better than Facebook Kickstarter, even though they're both roughly the same, because you actually can get some bang for your buck that way. It's not an interest-free loan. But once again, caveat emptor being the theme of today's show, it seems, it is an investment. Investments by their nature are fucking risky, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So don't go dropping $5,000 into Phoenix Point, for example, despite Phoenix Point looking fucking badass.
That second house tour come out?
Who's making that game again?
You know who's making that game. Your favorite person in the whole world, Mr. Tim Schafer.
Yeah, it has not come out. So don't go investing thinking you're going to get your money back on it. It is a risk. Then with hey, you know, just don't take this as, oh my God, Fig gives me money for investing in Kickstarter. It doesn't.
However, we can't lie. Fig could potentially give you money.
It can. Like I said,
there's always a chance.
If that Oculus Rift Kickstarter, back before Facebook bought that, was done on Fig, you would have had hundreds of immediate, if not millionaires, then they would have at least gotten a couple thousand to a couple $100,000 back from that investment, depending on how much they put in. Sweet. So just keep that in mind with your crowdsourced needs, I guess.
All right, I'll allow it.
All right.
What else you got?
Well, how about this Fallout board game?
Snap. Man, it's a really popular time to turn video games into board games.
That certainly seems to be. Fantasy Flight Games. These are... I love these guys, by the way. They make Descent, Journeys of the Dark. They were doing all the 40K board games until they had their parting of ways there. They do the Mansions of Madness stuff, a lot of the Cthulhu games. Usually very high quality. They announced recently that they're doing a Fallout board game where 1 to 4 players, solo play is an option apparently, select one of 5 playable explorers. Battles are going to be resolved with a set of custom dice, which showcase a number of successes in a test attempt, but also allude to a VATS targeting system. Essentially, this is going to be a cooperative or competitive, it hints at, exploration game in the wasteland. As you can see right here, they have a map. It looks to be a hex-based tile system, where as you explore, you're flipping them over and different events happen. The article also alludes to the idea that scenarios will be in play, and as you fill quests or pick one side or another, you start adding that faction's cards to the event deck. So your game will change every time you play it. At least that is what they are hinting at.
And the models they're showing off look pretty rad.
Yeah, let me see if I can show off a couple of them here. There we go. There's a ghoul, super mutant, Brotherhood of Steel guy, looks like a vault dweller, and some kind of wastelander there as well. Cool idea. I don't know if I'm necessarily sold on it. I want to see how it plays.
Yep, that's the big question. With a lot of these video game board games, you never know how it's really going to work out.
Right. The good news is, if you're interested in learning how it plays, it should be out by 4th quarter of 2017. Now, keep in mind, Q4 is business speak of saying it could be as late as April of 2018. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. But it should be coming soon.
But the nice thing is that, hey, this is a video game board game that's actually just coming out, being put together by a big game publisher. It's not being thrown on Kickstarter.
Correct. But
you know, most things that hit Kickstarter are a complete train wreck. With the exception of the Dark Souls board game, which actually came out and is a real thing that I own.
It is.
And those guys over at Steamforged Games actually very recently announced that with some of that money they made, they're actually putting together a Dark Souls card game, and they've actually opened it up to pre-order. Now, I'm not telling you to go buy this game. While I do like the Dark Souls board game, I think it actually could use a little bit of work, and I'm eagerly anticipating all the stretch goals and all the extra content for that game to be released, because right now it's kind of basic. But yeah, there is a Dark Souls card game. It's going to be coming out next year. The pre-order ends 25th of August. And it's kind of got some twists. It's an evolving card game. So you have like a character board. You actually start finding different items. You play cards. From what I understand, you can exhaust different techniques. So like you play this ability and it's exhausted. You have to set it a bonfire to refresh your cards. But you can keep going in and fighting enemies. Enemy decks have kind of set patterns. So you want to learn the bad guys while you're fighting them, so you know which cards you need to save to beat them. And it has like 400 cards, which is a little ridiculous.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of stuff. The only reason I'm bringing it up is we're in a board game kind of mood, and I actually like Steamforged. I think they did a really good job putting together Dark Souls, and the fact that they've made consistent updates, and they didn't just vanish with all my money, is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So,
in the interest of disclosure, you did kickstart the Dark Souls board game, correct?
Yes, I did, and they sent it to me.
All right.
It actually exists, and I'm excited about it, which is why I'm talking about their card game.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure everyone was on the up and up with that. I know that backing Kickstarters and people reporting the news has been a contentious thing in the past, understandably so, in my opinion. So it's always best to over-disclose.
Well, if it helps,
than not.
I don't need you to get the card game because I already have my board game, and you getting the card game doesn't give me anything. So I don't give two shits about it. But if you're the kind of person that likes Dark Souls and you like every damn thing Dark Souls related, guess what, guys? They're making a card game. We have one for Bloodborne. Now we're going to get one for Dark Souls. Hooray. Maybe. Who knows? Wait for reviews.
No word on when the Dark Souls card game is coming out
next year.
Just yet. Next year, but no like time frame is what I'm saying. There's no like month or anything like that.
I don't remember. I think Q2.
Well, either way, it's not now.
Not now,
David,
that's for sure.
If I wanted to play something right now, what could I play?
Oh, new releases. Let's talk about the fact that you can play a game that was originally released, 20 years ago? Because StarCraft Remastered hits PC, and it's $20. If you don't...
Okay.
Oh, no, it is 15. You're right. $14.99.
Is it 15? Okay.
Yeah, it is 15. You're right. StarCraft being the, kind of famous RTS from Blizzard that is still played competitively in Korea. So we can just leave that there. This game has staying power. If you've never played it, now's probably the best time to look at it. If you have no interest in RTS, stay the fuck away from this, because it is a classic RTS. It doesn't break the genre, but it is very, very solid. The resolution's been redone. It looks a little better. I think they did some audio fixes, but if you already own StarCraft...
Yeah, this is a, I believe, 4K skin for it. It still looks and feels the same for all intents and purposes. They really did not screw with the formula that's been StarCraft, that's been established in StarCraft for years now, because they didn't want to piss people off. All this did was kind of make it run a little bit better for modern PCs. And some of the pixel art's been cleaned up a little bit. It doesn't look as blurry. But don't go into this expecting it to look or play like StarCraft 2. It's not. This is Brood War 1.6, I think was the last. Or was it 1.7?
They fixed the graphics. They fixed some dialogue. They put in better matchmaking. I think it's going to actually run on Battle.net, so you don't got to worry about any weird nonsense.
Which is now called Blizzard Battle.net, I believe. They changed the name on it again, and I think it's Blizzard Battle.net.
No, they're back. Today. They're back to Battle.net. They didn't. They stopped ditching Battle.net, and I think it's Battle.net again.
Yeah, well, it's a combination of the two now. I think it's called Blizzard Battle.net now. I'm not positive.
That's a stupid name. I'm going to continue to call it Battle.net, as I did the whole time when they said it was gone, because I don't give two shits about what they want to do. Also coming out this week, Agents of Mayhem, the new Volition game, is hitting Xbox One, PS4, and PC. I was actually looking forward to this game because it is the next game from the Saints Row team. I'm a big fan of that. The game itself takes place in one of the alternate endings for the Saints Row God of the Hell expansion. It's just kind of one of the many endings to that game had a kind of world reset where everybody turns into a kind of 80s powered superhero cop, and that's what this game looks like. And it, from what I can tell, has a pretty good soundtrack, but early reviews say it might not be the best. So if you've been anxiously waiting it, maybe give it a couple of days before.
Yeah. The review embargo on this, I believe, is in 15 minutes. So if the show goes that long, I'll see if I can't check it. Or it could be midnight tonight. Either way, without going into too many details on some things, I have heard nothing but bad things about this game. So buyer beware again. This game has the feel of something being sent out to die, given the fact that there's little to no marketing for it. There's no buzz at all about it. I actually forgot it was coming out this week, and I was somewhat looking forward to this game.
What's funny is I was actually looking forward to this game, and I had no idea it was coming out this week, which is probably upsetting.
Yeah, it's got a lot of red flags around it, so
and it's $60. Yeah, don't pre-order. That's a good one. At some point, Johnny Gat will be in it, though, so that's exciting.
Behind a pre-order wall.
Stupid. Coming out this week on PS4, because I'm done talking about that, is Cities Skylines. The hit PC city building game is now on PS4. If you don't know what it is, it's the new SimCity. If the new SimCity was good.
Yeah, Cities Skylines is legitimately good on PC. Good. I don't know how it plays on console, but fun on PC.
Fantastic game. Dude, SimCity 2000 worked on Super Nintendo. This has got to be good. We'll be fine. Yes, that's my pitch. Okay. Also coming out this week is Matterfall for PS4. This is the new house marquee, like bullet hell platformer. When I first looked at it, I almost thought it was like an Ikaruga platformer, and that like you shoot like different colors, but it's not really going that route. But it does have the full tons of shit coming at you. You can actually make platforms with your gun. It's a future sci-fi alien battling Metroidvania shoot 'em up.
When it comes to pure gameplay, Housemarque is at the top of developers when it comes to that. Dead Nation, Alien Nation, Resogun. If you love those games and you just like great, classic feeling arcade style gameplay that's tight, that controls well, you can't do wrong with Housemarque as a general rule. So Matterfall, I haven't played it.
Is it not Housemarque?
I think it's Housemarque.
But that's how you spell marquee.
I'm aware, but I think they pronounce it Housemarque. I'm not positive. If you're watching this either live on YouTube, let me know in the chats down below, in the comment down below, and I will be sure to address it when I can.
I will continue to say Housemarque up until someone says that I'm wrong, and then I will continue to say it because I think it sounds better. Also coming out this week, Nidhogg 2 for PS4 and PC, the sequel to Nidhogg, a game that I didn't know what the fuck it was when it came out. But it's a side-scrolling... It's a very strange pitched game.
It's a 1v1 fencing duel.
Yeah, dude, it's you fence. But the whole point of it is to get to the center of the arena so you can get devoured by the Nidhogg, giant worm monster. Stab, shoot, slice, stomp your opponent to gain control of the screen. It's just a tug-of-war fencing game. You kill somebody, you move on, you kill the next guy. If you die, well, then he took control, and you just keep on keeping on.
No interest in this. Never played the first one either, but I know that the first one had a lot of positive buzz when it came out.
The art style, I think, can put some people off. It's interesting-looking game. But Nidhogg 2 coming out. Exciting for Nidhogg fans. A game that you can't wait to play. Night Trap is back. The 25th anniversary of Night Trap. A game that literally no one in this call cares about. Is hitting PS4 and PC. Night Trap being an old FMV game from the 90s where bad acting meets bad gameplay. And Steven can tell you all about it.
So... There are two things I want to talk about Night Trap. One, the game is fucking horrible. Night Trap was a terrible game. But I still say people who are interested in video gaming history should play it because Night Trap has an infamous section under its Wikipedia page, this fictitious Wikipedia page, because this is one of those few games in the 90s that was used during the congressional hearings of, hey, games are being marketed to kids, and look how you're murdering women running around, and it's sex and drugs, and we shouldn't be marketing this to our kids. And because of stuff like Night Trap and Mortal Kombat, we got the ESRB, because essentially the government went, either regulate yourselves, or we're going to do it for you. So if it... Night Trap has an interesting footnote in history, so I do recommend you take a look at how terrible of a game it is and how people thought that was the fucking most horrible thing they saw in video games.
A dude wearing black grabs a girl and runs off with her. That is the entirety of what happens.
Yeah.
But that is the worst thing that had ever happened in the history of video games. I'm pretty sure it's because it was live action FMV.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Additionally, another thing I want to bring up about this is that I want to say the company Limited Run Games, are the guys who are publishing it, I think that's their name, created a very small physical production of Night Trap 25th Anniversary, and it sold out in minutes. With scalpers on eBay selling it for 4 or 5 times as much as it needs to be sold for.
I don't need to understand that.
Anyways, it is important, quote unquote, to video gaming history.
It's a game that sold well once because of congressional hearings. Yeah, and the guy that made it is really mad about the fact that his game was compared to Mortal Kombat for violence and that he thinks it makes no sense. But hey, it sold some, so congratulations to that guy.
It's up there with like Space War and Pong and Pac-Man. Not so much in games that are good, but games that were important stepping stones.
They pushed the medium a little bit.
Yeah.
Get it, Night Trap. Congratulations, you're back.
What else we got, David?
Sonic Mania comes out this week, Xbox One, PS4, and Switch. This is the new 2D classic-style Sonic game. I'm going to go ahead and just thank the newer Mega Man games. What, 7, 8, 9, 10? Or 9, 10? Whatever the new Mega Mans were, where we actually got the throwback to 2D. And the fact that Sonic looks to be back from the early reviews I've read. People say it's really fun. If you're a classic Sonic fan, you might have something really exciting to look forward to this week. There
is this resurgence of, there has always been like this interest in remasters, but you're going to start seeing all the older shit getting remastered as well again because of how well the Crash remastered stuff did. Sonic Mania makes sense. There's the StarCraft thing coming out. There is this nostalgia feeling going around of people wanting that old style of game, which I think is kind of telling that we don't want the new stuff anymore. We want the stuff that we used to love. TP Poker over in chat. Yeah, that was Dana Plato and Night Trap, by the way. You were part of SCAT, the Sega Control Attack Team. Though I think it's they dropped the name Sega. It's called something else now. It's like the Search Control Attack Team because, well, Sega's a copyrighted name. Yeah, it's
anyway,
that one. That very
Sonic
one.
Mania is what we're talking about.
Hey, chat's delayed, man. I have to address it when it comes.
And the fact that it's only $20.
Yeah, solid price I hear. I will say that Sonic games were never all that great. There's a lot of rose-colored glasses about them, but they also weren't terribly bad either. Also, Michael Jackson.
Hey man, Sonic's fast, and that's all that matters.
That blast processing.
Get it.
Sega does
also coming out this week. Sega does what Nintendo don't. Bringing it back. Also coming out this week, Sudden Strike 4, the 4th in a RTS series that people play, apparently. I think we talked about Sudden Strike 3 when it came out, however long ago. Bigger battlefields, more units, better graphics, new scenarios, legendary commanders with individual abilities. It's more tactical and realistic than ever before. Yeah. It's got mixed reviews. It's a kind of current style military RTS series. I'm pretty sure Company Heroes outsells it every time, but they've made 4 of them, so they make an amount of money. So if you're a Sudden Strike fan, you got a new one to look at.
Hey, it's an RTS in a time of RTS drought.
That's fair. It's just rough that they're releasing at the same time as StarCraft.
I think that the 20-year-old StarCraft Remastered is going to sell more than Sudden Strike 4.
That's why I said what I said. Also coming out this week, Conan Exiles for Xbox One. The dick-filled Conan game is actually going to hit your Xbox, but if you are in America, you will be going dickless. The ESRB has decided that console gamers can't handle floppily... I can't get through this fucking article. Oh, yeah. So this game is going to be censored in the U.S. The UK will get the full PC gratuitous nudity version of the game. Xbox One owners in America will not. It's an open world survival game, much like Rust and Ark. You play through the lands of Conan the Barbarian. It actually looks pretty good. You build a kingdom. You fight people in combat, both in single player and multiplayer. I think there's dragons and all kinds of crazy shit to do. But the big reason that I'm aware of this game, and the reason it sold so much on Steam, is because you start out as just a naked dude. And and people laugh at nudity.
So I have two very specific questions about this game that really don't affect the way that it plays at all.
Okay.
One, how are they censoring it? Are they just putting like a pixelated block or a censored bar over the dick? Or does it actually have like underwear on?
Loincloths.
Loincloths.
Yeah. Like if you take all your clothes off, you're wearing a loincloth.
Question 2, and there's a part A and a part B.
Okay.
Part A, can you choose your gender?
I don't think so.
Okay. And if you can't choose your gender, do they only censor the dicks and the hoo-ha, or do they cover up the tits as well? These are important questions we need to have answered.
I don't know.
All right. Chat, if you happen to be watching us, and if you happen to know that if you can pick your gender in Conan Exiles, and if they happen to censor everything or just the lower bits, please let us know in the comments down below or live here at twitch.tv/GamePoints. Moving on to the next game releasing.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't actually play it. I just know reading an article that there's new dudes in it. I don't know if that sells games, but cool. Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma is coming out yet again for, I think, the last console it wasn't on, and that's PS4. It's a, what do we call these games? This story-driven, like, visual novel game. Thank you. 9 people wake up, trapped in an underground facility. Kind of has a weird Saw-style storyline. To escape, they have to basically play a deadly game with serious consequences. Who lives? Who dies? It's a choice-based game where you try and decide who lives and dies playing the decision game. Yeah. You take the role of 3 characters, you play through the different chapters of the story, you try and save people or don't, and each chapter, I think, is like a 90-minute portion of the game, and you can play them in any order. It continues to sell well, I'm assuming, which is why it keeps coming out on every flipping console, and yeah, there's a new Zero Escape. It's a third of the series. I don't remember what the other 2 games were called.
The Nonary games. The first one was 999. I think it's like 9 people, 9 doors, 9 hours, stuff like that. And the second one was Virtue's Last Reward. Essentially, this entire trilogy is, you were mentioning Saw earlier. Imagine if Saw was a Japanese slice of life anime. That is what this is.
There you go. Also coming out this week on Xbox One, Thumper, a game that's been on PC since October of last year. It is the rhythm violence game. So it's like kind of a classic rhythm action game, but it's really fast and kind of brutal. You are a space beetle, and you continue going through murdering things via rhythm until you fight a giant maniacal head from the future.
Played this on PlayStation VR way back when it first came out. It's a fun game. You do drive around essentially a ship that looks like it escaped from Roger Dorn's terrarium, and it is really fun and really fucking oppressive. I could only play this game in VR for about 30 minutes before I just legitimately got like down in the doldrums. It's this really dark industrial beat to it. It's I mean, go YouTube it. I know that's a cop out, but you'll get what I say when the game itself is just really moody and dark and just very. I couldn't play it for too long, especially in VR. It just brought me down.
All right. Well, if you're trying to go up, maybe the next one's not for you either. Observer comes out for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Of the games coming out this week, this one definitely looks the coolest to me. You play in a futuristic cyberpunk dystopia, a horror game where you hack into people's fears to learn stuff about them. You play as an observer. It's from the Bloober team, the guys that made Layers of Fear, if you know what that is. And yeah, you're a neural police agent who's an observer, and you just hack into people's minds, mostly the criminally insane, to find out what the fuck went wrong with them. It looks really dark. It's kind of a horror-filled game. The trailer starts with screaming, and I think it looks awesome.
This game is very clearly wearing its Blade Runner inspiration on its sleeve. To the point where the trailer is, I don't want to say shot for shot a recreation of the Blade Runner trailer, but it definitely is heavily inspired by it, all the way down to the fact that I believe the main character is voiced by Rutger Hauer, who played Roy Batty in Blade Runner.
You are correct.
I think he motion captain too. It looks like the main guy looks a lot like him.
Anyway, I think that game looks rad, and that about does it for new releases. I'm sure we missed some smaller games, and if we did, feel free to yell at us. But those are the ones that we found when we did some Googling.
Fair enough. And I think that wraps things up here for Game Points episode 100. Once again,
fanfare!
Yeah,
I finished my drink.
Thank you
I
for
forgot
watching
to bring
us.
like a popper. Or...
Thank you for watching us live. If you're able to do so, we do stream every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. If you can't watch us live, feel free to tune into our YouTube channel. Just type in GamePoints, one word. We pop right up. Regardless of what platform you're watching us on, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, follow, dislike, anything you want to, quite honestly. I do try to respond to you as long as you keep it somewhat respectful. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, it is at GamePoints PC. You can follow myself, Stephen Brown, at CapitalistPig21, and you can follow David Smith over there at Palshive_Satori. This has been GamePoints episode 100. We'll see if we can do another 100 episodes in the next few years or not. God willing, we'll see how that shakes out. But without further ado, this has been GamePoints, and we are out of here.
Don't pre-order.